Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel. And in today's episode, I'm talking to you about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Week here in the UK. And it's a subject which I've touched upon numerous times on the channel before. In fact, I did a quick search. There's at least 3 videos, all of which the links are down below in the description, where I talk about depression. Is social media to blame for depression, entrepreneurial anxiety, and a whole host of other things. Now, the conversation about mental health is actually quite at the forefront today, in as much as Coronation Street, again, a huge TV soap here in the UK, just recently featured quite a shocking storyline around suicide and mental health. And I wanted to create a video about this because this is something which mental health is something which is close to me personally. I remember being at school. I was 14 or 15, and one of my good friends killed themselves at that age. And so it's always been something that, even from a youngish age, I've been aware of, and I've obviously known many other people take their lives, and I think that's something which, again, we need to be aware of, that suicide is still the biggest killer for men under the age of 45 in the UK, and it's one of those things where nobody really talks about mental health. You can talk about physical health all you want. You know, it's one of those things. If you sprain your ankle, if you get a headache, if you have stomach ache, everybody talks about that, but nobody talks about mental health. And as far as I can see, as far as my opinion goes, whatever it's worth, if your mental health, everybody has mental health, and therefore everybody has mental health problems, whether they are aware of them or not, because they are not visible physically to a lot of people, is why they're probably not given the same amount of attention. Now, again, I'm not, by no means am I saying I'm suicidal or anything like that, but I know, like, through running a business, through entrepreneurship, that, you know, there has been times where it's been difficult, and in the not so recent past, you know, it is in the not too distant past, I should say. Anxiety is something which is very real. Loneliness is something which, again, when you work online or from home, and you can go hours and hours and hours without ever having a social interaction with another person. You can message people on Skype or text or whatever, but you don't actually see another face. So there are very, very real things to be aware of when it comes to mental health, and certain things which you should be aware of. It isn't normal to be alone. And I think it's one of those, we're in this weird generational shift right now. And again, like I said, one of the videos I linked down below is me blaming social media for our apparent boom in depression. And whilst now social media, and people like Gary Vaynerchuk have said this, is like, you know, if you go back 20 years, kids at school will say they have 1 or 2 best friends. Nowadays, through social media, they'll say they have 5 or 6. But as an adult, I would bet that in 20 years difference, our actual physical social interactions have dropped massively. Yes, we're part of group chats on WhatsApp. Yes, we're part of Facebook Messenger groups. But are we seeing people the same? Are we actually meeting up physically and talking? Are we going to a bar, to a pub, to whatever, to someone's house and just having a chat like was so normal just a few years ago? And I'm not saying that that is the cause or it isn't the cause, but ultimately, to break this down, is that ever since I started this YouTube channel about a year and a half ago, within the past year, I've had over 10 friends, or I would say 10 people a mixture of friends and a mixture of people who I've met through this channel. Over 10 that I could think of before I went live on this video right now. And the ones that are friends, I would never have expected to be suffering with mental health problems because they hide it so well. With a smile, with laughing and joking, it's a performance. It absolutely is a performance. And like I said, over 10 people have come to me either publicly in a group chat amongst other friends or one-on-one through emails, through comment, or through the messaging thing on YouTube, through Facebook Messenger, saying that they have suffered with anxiety, with depression. They, you know, and that they're always sorry. They're always sorry for it, and ultimately they've got nothing to be sorry about. But the one thing that I would say about each one of those 10 instances that I could think of is that they all reached out. They all reached out to talk to someone. They got to the point where they couldn't hold it in anymore. They couldn't suffer alone anymore, and they had to talk to someone. And I think that's the most important thing we can do, is that right now we're talking about, you know, mental health awareness. It's talking, it's seeing. And I know, again, where it comes from. Again, people in the sort of generation older than I am, or 2 generations older than I am, mental health was seen as a weakness. You're told to man up and get on with it and stop being soft, and, you know, all those other things that we've all heard a million times before. And that's, you know, all well and good, but it's not solving the problem. And I think that's that stigma of being man and manliness and I'm, you know, king of the castle and all the rest of it. It's not conducive to solving the mental health issue that is currently going on. Being told to man up when you are feeling sad, feeling depressed, is like telling a deaf person to listen harder. You know, I'm sure they would if they could. And it's hard for anyone who has never been there, who has never dealt with anxiety, whatever else, to comprehend what it's like. And just telling someone to snap out of it, get over it. Do you think they choose to be like that? Do you think they choose to feel that way? No, you wouldn't choose to feel that way. And yeah, some people call it attention seeking, but trust me, there's much more easier and less painful ways to seek attention than the numerous things that come out of depression and loneliness and anxiety. So again, I know this is way off topic from the usual channel stuff, but if, like I said, I just wanted to start the conversation. I've done this before. It's like, I urge people to talk. Like, I'm in this room on my own right now, and I'm talking to you watching this. Is that if ever you feel like you've had enough, that you're fed up, that there's no point in whatever it is that's going on in your life, I want you to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be me. Like, by all means, you can. If you feel like reaching out to me, you know, someone you don't know or someone you do know. If one of my friends is watching this, please talk to me. I urge you to talk to me. I will never make fun of you. I will never, you know, get into banter mode, and, you know, I will listen to you, because trust me, I know what it's like. Like I said, I've been through my own things, and I've also had over 10 people come and explain to me in their words how it is they're feeling. And all of them are male, by the way. All of them. Why this is a male thing, I don't know. But like I said, suicide rates in women are dropping, and in males they're increasing. So who knows why? I also want to shout out Calm, the campaign against living miserably. Their link is down below. The Samaritans, their link is down below. I believe both of them are free phone numbers where you can just talk to someone. And I'd urge you to talk to someone. That's the biggest thing, is talking to someone. So even someone that you don't know, there's going to be no judgment there. And yeah, that's sort of the big thing. And I wanted to share with you an analogy which I saw in a video. I believe it was from Jay Shetty. Now, if no one knows who Jay Shetty is, again, the link to his YouTube channel is down below. Follow him on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, his stuff is fantastic. And again, you want to read the story about Jay Shetty, where he's come from, and everything else. It's fascinating. And the way he talks, the things that he says. He used to be a monk, so again, the wisdom that he portrays comes across so eloquently. So go follow him. And I think, like I said, this isn't my thing. This is something which I think I saw in one of his videos. But it was a case of handy. I had this to hand. Bottle of water. And if I asked you, how heavy is this bottle of water? You might guess and say, oh, 500 grams, 600 grams. But ultimately, the only way to know how heavy this bottle of water is to actually weigh it or hold it and get an idea as to how heavy it is. And then what if I said, well, how heavy is it if I held it at arm's length? And you say, well, you know, it's technically weighs the same. I'd be like, yeah, it does. But what if I held it at arm's length for 2 hours, for 12 hours, for a day, for a week? What would happen then? And the answer is, I mean, even now, after a few seconds, that is feeling heavier already. And the answer is, it still weighs the same, but the perception of its weight is different to whoever is in the situation. You watching that right now, it's still 500 grams. Me holding this like that, I'd say that's maybe up to 1 kilo now. And that's the perception. Is that how many times someone will say to you, oh, I know how you feel. What they mean to say is, I empathize with you, but ultimately they don't know how you feel. If they've been through the same thing, they know how they felt going through it, but nobody knows how you feel. And nobody knows right now how I feel holding this bottle of water. You could do the same thing at home, and you could hold this bottle of water out, and you might feel the ache set in harder, slower, stronger, weaker than I am. And this, we'll use this water bottle as like a metaphor for anxiety, for that thought in your head which won't go away, that thing that just as you're about to sleep at night pops up into your brain and then you can't sleep. This is that thing. And the longer that you hold on to it, the heavier it gets and the more of a burden it becomes, until it becomes unbearable, until it becomes the only thing that you can think about is that. That is, you know, that's starting to hurt my shoulder now. Just to let you know, this is where I am. Arms aching all across the top, tricep into the shoulder. But you can't feel what I'm feeling right now. You can see what I'm doing, but you can't feel. And whilst you think you might know what it feels like, and obviously me telling you what it feels like, you don't actually know what it feels like. And this is the metaphor for mental health. This is that one thing which is stuck in your head. I wish I was better at my job. I wish I was happier. I wish I had these things, which is my perception of happiness. I wish I could let go of the negative thoughts. I wish that, you know, I wasn't paralyzed in bed most mornings at the single thought of getting up and facing the day. And ultimately, the only thing that we all need to do when stuff like this happens is learn to let go. Because as soon as you let go, the pain goes away. And it's that act of letting go of the negative thoughts, of whatever else is going on in your head, which is sort of the key to fixing the problem. And the easiest way that I know, and from the people that I know, the easiest way to help you let go is to talk about it. The old saying that a problem shared is a problem halved is true. And over time, you'll maybe realize the more people you talk to, that actually that thing that felt so heavy, that was hurting you, that was bringing you down, actually wasn't that big of a deal. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I really genuinely would. If you are struggling with your own mental health, your own problems internally, then I urge you to talk to someone. Doesn't have to be me. Like I said, links to Calm and the Samaritans are down below. Go and check them out. With that said, I just, like I said, mental health awareness. I think it's important. If someone tells you to man up, whatever, ignore them. Even if they're your friends, your family, they just don't understand. Speak to a professional. Speak to those friends who you know will not judge you for explaining how you feel. I hope that this video is somewhat useful to you. Like I said, I felt the urge. Like I said, I know so many people have been through this. I've had the messages of in the video I did about entrepreneurial anxiety. A very kind man reached out to me through the Facebook Manc Entrepreneur Facebook page and wrote me a very kind message. I'm not going to share it. Like I said, it was a private message, and he found that video helpful just purely to know that someone else had been through this. And I think that's the general message, is that you're not alone. However much your brain will trick you into thinking you're alone, remember that you're not alone, and talk to someone. With that said, I know this has been a bit of a somber video, but I think it's an important one, and one that needed to be made. With that said, enjoy the rest of your day. Please give this video a like if you found it somewhat useful, or hopefully maybe even if you don't suffer, maybe you can get an insight into what it is like to people who have. And yeah, let's start the conversation. Let's talk more. If you're new here, please subscribe, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.